The only thing the Founding Fathers really got wrong about the Declaration of Independence process was the portrait. I think they should have done something where it's like Tom, signing, looking, and they're all behind him like he's a record transfer doing the thumbs up. I think it was a big chance missed. Anyway, as great as the Declaration of Independence was, they still had to back it up on the field, on the battlefield. Fast forward to August, British General Howe says, okay, look, it's been a tough last 14 months or so, but enough's enough. No more pissing about. Time to go down and finally crush these ungrateful ass colonists once and for all. So he takes 20,000 troops and lands in Brooklyn in a broader quest to take New York. Well, even a broken clock is right twice a day, and the British actually smoke the Americans at the Battle of Long Island and almost destroy the entire army. But thanks to some heroics from people like William Alexander and the 1st Marylanders, General Washington and his men were able to slip away and live to fight another day. It was, however, the first major loss for the home side, so let's move on. Over the second half of 1776, the Continental Army was forced to gradually retreat from Brooklyn to Manhattan to Harlem to White Plains. And I'm not a New Yorker, but I can just assume that anytime you're being forced to move from Manhattan to White Plains, it means that things have not gone according to plan. By the time Christmas rolled around in 1776, the Continental Army was not feeling very jolly, and the flame of hope of revolution was beginning to dim. On the battlefield, the English had just been driving us back, and Washington and co. had been giving up chunk plays. No backbreakers, but we were basically getting Derrick Henry'd into upstate New York, which is never good. I think by this time a lot of folks were getting ready to go back to eating crumpets and baked potatoes with beans on them, but thank God old General George Washington had a trick up his sleeve. Again, it's late December and Washington's army has dwindled down to about 5,000 very cold and hangry men. There was basically no food or medicine or supplies or joy anywhere to be found in camp, and they had not been paid. On top of that, most of the enlistments were running out on January 1st, so George only had a few days since it was understood that these dudes were not going to be soldiering pro bono next year, and it effectively meant the army was going to dissolve. It was Aaron Rodgers' Hail Mary time for Washington. First, they just bail out of New York and go all the way down to southern New Jersey so they don't get encircled and just take a breath. Washington realizes what he's got to do. And now we arrive at the iconic moment of the revolution. Christmas night, 1776, in the midst of terrible winter weather, Washington and his men sail across the Delaware and attack a force of Hessian mercenaries and catch them with their pants completely down. The Continentals rushed into Trenton just as the day was breaking, and despite a modest resistance, the Hessians end up surrendering about 900 men. Beyond clutch for George and the boys, news spreads like wildfire and buoys the spirits of the colonists and proves to themselves and to the British that they're not going down without a fight.